Welcome to the anti-harassment training. This training is suitable for all team members. By the end of this training, you'll be able to define sexual harassment, identify examples of unlawful conduct, discuss federal and state statutory laws and remedies for victims, and review employer responsibilities. Sexual harassment can be defined as any unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, or any conduct of a sexual nature when submission to such conduct is made either explicitly or implicitly a term or condition of an individual's employment. Submission to or rejection of such conduct by an individual is used as the basis for employment decisions affecting such individual, or such conduct has the purpose or effect of substantially interfering with an individual's work performance or creating an intimidating, hostile, or offensive working environment. Did you know that there are two types of unlawful sexual harassment? The first is quid pro quo sexual harassment. You do something for me and I'll do something for you. This means that a manager or supervisor may not tell an employee that in order to receive a promotion, raise, preferred assignment, or other type of job benefit, or to avoid something negative like discipline or an unpleasant assignment, the employee must do something sexual in return. And the second is hostile work environment sexual harassment. The air at work is full of sexual references and it's impacting me. A hostile work environment may occur when unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, or any conduct of a sexual nature has the purpose or effect of substantially interfering with an individual's work performance or creating an intimidating, hostile, or offensive working environment. Now, let's discuss discrimination. Discrimination is prohibited when the difference in treatment is due to a protected status, such as race, sex, religion, national origin, age, disability, and others. Sexual assault is an act in which a person sexually touches another person without that person's consent or coerces or physically forces a person to engage in a sexual act against their will. Professional behavior is expected and required of all ABM team members. ABM's intent is to provide all employees with a workplace environment consistent with ABM's core values. Be advised that sexual conduct becomes sexual harassment when the behavior is unwelcome. Behavior may be unwelcome in the sense that the victim did not solicit or invite it, or in the sense that the victim regarded the conduct as undesirable or offensive. An employee's working environment is not limited to the physical location where the employee is assigned. The working environment extends to other work sites including off-site, mobile, or moving work site locations. All persons can be victims of sexual harassment, regardless of the victim's gender identity or the perpetrator's gender identity. All persons can be victims of sexual harassment, regardless of the victim's sexual orientation or the perpetrator's sexual orientation. Victims of sexual harassment can include not only the target of the sexual harassment, but also third parties or bystanders. Sexual harassment includes unwelcome conduct of a sexual nature. Examples include pressure for sexual favors or to go out on a date, deliberate touching, leaning over, or cornering another person, sexual looks or gestures or whistling at someone, sending letters, telephone calls, emails, texts, or other materials of a sexual nature, sexual teasing, jokes, remarks, or questions, Referring to another as a girl, hunk, doll, babe, honey, tootsie, or other, and or actual or attempted rape or sexual assault. More examples of conduct that may constitute sexual harassment include turning work discussions into sexual topics, asking about sexual fantasies, preferences, or history, sexual comments, innuendos, or stories, sexual comments about a person's clothing, body, or looks, kissing sounds, howling and smacking lips, telling lies or spreading rumors about a person's sex life, massaging necks and shoulders, and touching another employee, such as their clothing, hair, or body. Our conduct online and through social media can constitute sexual harassment, even when it occurs off the clock, off-site, or even out of state. Online sexual harassment includes using email, cell phone, text, internet posting, online comments, blog posts, and social media, such as Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, and Snapchat, to send communications of a sexual nature. Examples include flirting and requests or demands to go on the date or have sex, sending inappropriate pictures or videos including sexually graphic material, using sexual language or comments including sexually offensive language, and cyber stalking. If you experience, witness, or become aware of unwelcome sexual conduct, know that you have the right to tell the person to stop. The initiating and participating persons must stop the unwelcome behavior upon request. If they continue the behavior or retaliate against you because you ask them to stop, they can be found to have violated the law by engaging in sexual harassment or retaliation. You have the right to report the sexual harassment. Several reporting options are available. The option you choose may depend on the nature and severity of the unwelcome conduct of a sexual nature. All persons who report sexual harassment or participate in investigations are protected from retaliation. The choice of how to report an allegation of sexual harassment is a personal one, and these options are not mutually exclusive. You may pursue one or more of the following reporting options. Option 1. Sexual Harassment and Discrimination Helpline. If you or someone you know has experienced or witnessed unwelcome conduct of a sexual nature in the workplace, the Sexual Harassment and Discrimination Helpline for assistance. Calls are confidential and can be made anonymously. Helpline representatives can help callers navigate their numerous reporting options and share additional information related to counseling, legal assistance, and frequently asked questions. Option 2. Report the incident to your employer. You may report this incident to one or more of the following employer representatives: your supervisor, or any member of management you trust. Supervisors and members of management are responsible for knowing the employer's internal complaint investigation and resolution process. Supervisors can help effect immediate positive change. Human resources officers can work with management to investigate and resolve sexual harassment complaints. This option may be preferred if the perpetrator of the sexual harassment is a supervisor or a manager. And an ABM compliance hotline. Our hotline representatives are trained to specifically receive and investigate sexual harassment complaints. File a charge with the U.S. Equal Employment Opportunity Commission, the EEOC. The EEOC is responsible for enforcing Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964, the federal law that makes it illegal to engage in sexual harassment or retaliation. Complainants may file a charge at any time within 300 days of the incident. The EEOC has jurisdiction to investigate employers who have 15 or more employees. To start the process, call the EEOC or visit their website. After the EEOC completes its investigation, the complainant may file a lawsuit in federal court. The EEOC may help parties reach a settlement through an informal process called conciliation if the EEOC finds reasonable cause to believe discrimination occurred. Complainants who prevail in federal court may receive an order awarding remedies allowed by Title VII to make the employee whole. Remedies may include back pay, lost benefits, clearing of a personnel file, damages, hiring, promotion, reinstatement, front pay where reinstatement is not possible, punitive damages, and attorney fees and costs. If you are wondering if your employer is responsible for sexual harassment, the answer is yes. Employers are responsible for sexual harassment in two ways: manager and supervisor harassment, and coworker and non-employee harassment. Manager and supervisor harassment. Employers are strictly liable for sexual harassment perpetrated by its members of management, regardless of whether the employer knew of the harassment. Coworker and non-employee harassment. Employers are liable for sexual harassment perpetrated by an employee or non-employee, a vendor, only if the employer knew or reasonably should have known of the harassment and failed to take prompt corrective action. Let's now shift our focus towards discussing employer responsibilities and liabilities concerning incidents of sexual harassment in the workplace, including the employer's responsibility to prevent the incident of sexual harassment in the workplace, investigate incident of sexual harassment in the workplace, and lastly, correct the incident of sexual harassment in the workplace. We are responsible for the prevention of sexual harassment. These responsibilities include develop, implement, and regularly communicate the employer's sexual harassment policy, provide training for managers and employers on sexual harassment prevention, ensure clear communication on how to report incidents of sexual harassment or conduct of a sexual nature. Managers and supervisors should monitor their work environment to ensure the workplace is free of sexual harassment. Managers and supervisors must lead by example and model appropriate conduct. They should refrain from engaging in conduct of a sexual nature. Managers and supervisors should conduct a sexual harassment climate check throughout the year. Discuss the topic at team or staff meetings, in-service days, or as part of a structured communication such as division or unit newsletters. We are responsible for the investigation of sexual harassment, but should leave it to HR. And these responsibilities include immediately respond to a complaint of a sexual harassment and initiate an inquiry or investigation. Interview the complainant and take reasonable action to protect the victim from retaliation or experiencing further sexual harassment during the investigation. Interview all relevant witnesses. Interview the alleged perpetrator of the sexual harassment. Document the investigation results and maintain the file as an employment record. And take corrective action as appropriate. Employers are responsible for the prevention of sexual harassment. These responsibilities include take appropriate corrective disciplinary action up to and including termination of employment where organizational policy has been violated. In situations where the conduct in question did not rise to the level of sexual harassment or a violation of policy, but is concerning or may be considered grooming behavior, consider counseling, training, and closer supervision of the employee. Take responsible action within the organization to reduce the likelihood of future sexual harassment by updating policies and communicating them to the workforce, providing supplemental or tailored sexual harassment training, or restructuring the working environment or reporting relationships. Follow up with the complainant at regular intervals to ensure they and the workplace remains free from sexual harassment. You've now completed the training. You learned how to define sexual harassment, identify examples of unlawful conduct, discuss federal, state, statutory laws and remedies for victims, and discuss employer responsibilities. Thanks for listening.